The door slams so hard the porch light rattles. The deadbolt clicks final and clean, like a judge's gavel. Cold rain needles my cheeks and slips under my collar, instantly soaking the thin fabric of my school shirt. My lungs lock up. Don't come back until you're ready to tell the truth. Dad's voice rips through the thunder, rough with something that isn't justice, just certainty. Behind him, Leah stands in the hallway glow, tears on her face, but her eyes bright, awake like she's been waiting for this exact moment. Her mouth shapes, "I'm sorry," and my stomach twists because her stare says, "Finally." I step off the porch. The wet wood is slick under my sneakers. My hands fly to my pockets, empty. No phone, no coat, no money, nothing but my backpack dragging on one shoulder like an anchor. The rain gets louder, like it's applauding. 13 years later, my voicemail buzzes in my palm. Leah's voice breaks in my ear, shaking, terrified. "If you come to the reading tomorrow, you'll understand what I did." Rain still has a way of finding me. It doesn't matter where I live now. Different keys, different locks, different streets. The second water starts tapping a window. My body remembers that porch. My skin tightens like it's bracing for impact. My throat goes dry. My palms sweat anyway. My brain does that mean little thing where it rewinds without asking. That night didn't just throw me out of a house, it erased me. One slam, one click, and suddenly I was a problem nobody had to look at anymore. And I need you to understand something right away. I didn't win by going back and screaming. I didn't win by making a scene big enough for the neighbours to gather like seagulls. I survived quietly. I swallowed my pride until it burned holes in my chest. I learned how to keep my voice steady when my ribs felt like they were rattling apart. And then, when the time was right, I exposed the truth so clean it left them with nothing to grab onto. No excuses, no misunderstanding. Just facts, just consequences, because there was a lie, a specific lie, one that sounded believable coming from the right mouth, one that made my father look at me like he didn't know me at all. And now, 13 years later, there's a secret cracking open like rot under fresh paint because Leah can't hold it in anymore. I grew up in a small coastal town where the air always tastes faintly of salt and old gossip. Everybody knows everybody. They don't even have to ask questions. They just decide things. Reputations don't fade there. They cling like wet clothes you can't peel off, like a smell in your hair. So listen, if you've ever been scapegoated in your own family, subscribe, because this ending is for you. The worst part, Dad didn't kick me out because he hated me. He did it because Leah trained him to. I used to think my house had two kinds of quiet. There was the normal kind, the kind that settles after dinner when the sink is full and the TV is low and everyone is pretending the day didn't chew them up. And then there was the other quiet, the one that comes after something breaks, the one that smells like cold tea and dust and the inside of an old coat closet, the one that makes you step softer, breathe smaller, like the air itself might snap. That second quiet moved in the day my mother died. I was 11, old enough to understand what the words meant, too young to carry them. Cancer, hospice. She's comfortable. She's resting. Everyone said things like they were smoothing sheets. Nobody looked at me long enough to see I was unravelling. The morning she died, the light in our kitchen looked wrong, too bright, too clean, like it didn't match what had happened down the hall in the bedroom where the machines had beeped slower and slower until they stopped. I remember the sound of my father's shoes on the linoleum, back and forth, like pacing could bargain with death. Ronan, my father, was never a loud man. Even when he was angry, he didn't shout the way some dads do. He got rigid. His jaw would clench so tight the muscle would jump by his eyes would go flat. That kind of quiet rage that doesn't release heat. It just freezes. Grief, did something worse to him than rage. It hollowed him out. He still went to work, still paid the bills, still drove me to school when he remembered. But it was like the person behind his eyes had stepped back into a dark room and shut the door. He'd sit in his chair at night with a beer sweating in his hand, staring at nothing. If I spoke too softly, he didn't hear me. If I spoke too loudly, he flinched like the sound hurt. And Leah stepped forward. Leah was 14 when Mum died. 14 and already pretty in that effortless way. Bright smile, hair that fell the way girls on posters' hair falls, eyes that could turn soft on command. She could fold towels like she'd been trained. She could make a grocery list with neat little boxes. She could look someone in the face and make them feel chosen. The adults ate it up. Such a good girl, the neighbours would sigh, like Leah's goodness was a candle that could hold our whole house together. I watched her become the story my father needed, the responsible child, the helper, the one who wasn't asking him to feel anything, the one who didn't demand. I didn't understand at first that Leah wasn't just doing chores. She was taking the microphone. It started with small things that looked like love from the outside. Leah packing my lunch, Leah signing my permission slip, Leah reminding Dad about parent-teacher night. "Don't worry, Dad, I've got it," she'd say, touching his arm like she was the adult, and he was the tired teenager. And Dad would exhale, like relief, like gratitude. He leaned on her the way a man leans on a crutch and eventually forgets he ever had two legs. When Mum was alive, she was the narrator of our family. She knew who was struggling, who needed space, who needed a hug, who needed a hard truth. After she died, that narrator role didn't vanish. Leah took it. She began telling Dad what I was, not to my face, never directly, not at first. It came in drips, like a leak you don't notice until the floorboards warp. "She's been moody lately," Leah would mention casual while she stirred pasta. "She didn't do her dishes again," Leah would sigh, like she was worried, not annoyed. "I think she's still, processing," Leah would say, and the word would hang there heavy. Processing sounded like something broken trying to run. Dad would nod like he trusted her, like she was the one reading the gauges on a machine he couldn't look at. I became a set of symptoms. I was sensitive, I was stubborn, I was acting out, I was withdrawn, I was grieving, yes, but I wasn't dangerous, I wasn't wild. I was a quiet achiever. I liked rules because rules felt like rails, something to hold on to when everything else slid. I kept my homework neat. I kept my handwriting small. I kept my thoughts in a journal because paper didn't interrupt you. Paper didn't roll its eyes. Paper didn't take what you said and retell it with a twist. My journal was the only place I could admit the truth. I missed my mother so much. It felt like someone had taken the centre out of my chest and left a hollow there. Sometimes I pressed my palm against that hollow and held my breath like pressure could keep me from collapsing. At school, I was the kid teachers liked because I didn't cause trouble. I raised my hand. I turned things in early. I smiled when spoken to. I made myself small and pleasant because being easy felt safer than being real. But Leah didn't like easy. Leah liked control. I didn't know that word yet. I didn't have it. I just knew that the air shifted when she walked into a room, like the temperature set itself to her preference. The sabotage started so quietly. It almost didn't exist. A permission slip for a field trip vanished from the counter the night before it was due. I tore my backpack apart, shaking it like answers might fall out. My heart pounded so hard. My ears buzzed. Leah leaned in my doorway, arms folded, watching. "Maybe you forgot," she said, voice sweet as syrup. "I didn't," I whispered. The tears came hot and humiliating. I put it right there, she clicked her tongue. Well, you've been kind of scattered lately. And then she went downstairs and told Dad that I never takes responsibility. I stopped trusting surfaces. I started hiding things. I slid papers under my mattress. I tucked notes into book covers. I checked my backpack twice, then 3 times. I began living like someone was always reaching into my life when I wasn't looking, because someone was. At school, it was different, but it was the same. A rumour floated through the hallway that I'd been caught cheating on a quiz. I hadn't. I'd never even considered it. But the rumour clung to me anyway. A girl I used to sit with at lunch started watching me like I might steal her pen. My friend Tessa stopped texting back as quickly. When I asked her what was wrong, she shrugged too hard. Nothing, just busy. Busy, sure. One day, I walked into the office to drop off a form, and Miss Alden, the office manager, looked up from her computer and paused. Her eyes moved over my face like she was reading something written there. Miss Alden wasn't warm in the way teachers can be. She wasn't bubbly. She had a practical haircut and a pen tucked behind her ear, and the kind of calm that made you straighten your posture without meaning to. She ran the school like a ship. She knew everyone's birthdays and everyone's attendance record and everyone's excuses. She noticed patterns. That's for the science fair, she asked, tapping my full form with one fingernail. Yeah, I said. My voice came out too small. She took it, scanned it, and then didn't file it right away. She just looked at me for a second longer. You okay, Nora? The question hit me like a hand on a bruise. My throat tightened. I forced a smile that probably looked like a grimace. I'm fine. Miss Alden nodded slowly, like she didn't believe me but wasn't going to corner me. If you need anything, you know where this office is. I walked out with my stomach twisting, half relieved, half terrified. Being seen felt dangerous. Being seen meant someone might ask questions. Questions were the enemy in my house. At home, Leah kept saying the same line with different outfits. I'm just trying to help Nora. She'd say it with her hand pressed to her chest, eyes glossy, like she was auditioning for the role of the suffering sister. She'd say it at family dinners, at church, in front of my father's friends, in front of Maris, our stepmom, who came into our lives when I was 13. Maris had a soft voice and a hard habit of disappearing inside herself when conflict showed up. She wasn't cruel. That would have required effort. She was absent even when she was standing right there, like her mind would float up to the ceiling and hover until the storm passed. When Dad remarried, the house filled with Maris's lavender candles and her framed photos and her careful little smile. Leah called her mum within a month, as if the word was a key she wanted to claim. I couldn't do it. Every time the syllable rose in my throat, it scraped like gravel. I called her Maris, politely, quietly. Leah noticed. She didn't accuse me outright. She didn't have to. She'd just tilt her head at Dad later and say, Nora still isn't adjusting. Adjusting, like I was a shelf that refused to sit level. And Dad would sigh. He'd look at me like I was a puzzle piece that didn't fit the picture anymore. The older I got, the more Leah's control became polished, less about missing forms, more about shaping how people felt when they looked at me. She would hug me in front of others, squeeze a little too tight and whisper, smile. Her breath would be warm at my ear. Her nails would dig into my shoulder through my shirt, just enough to remind me she could. Then she'd pull back and beam at whoever was watching. See, I'm the loving sister. And if I flinched, I looked ungrateful. If I snapped, I looked unstable. If I stayed quiet, she won. I learned to hold my reactions inside my ribs until they bruised. And then there was the money-shaped shadow that crept across our house like a cloud you only notice when the temperature drops. My mother had left a small inheritance, not life-changing, not mansion money, but enough to matter, enough to change a start line, a scholarship fund she'd started, plus a separate account held by a trustee until I turned 18. Her last attempt to give me something solid after she was gone. Leah knew about it. I never talked about it. I didn't brag. I barely even let myself think about it because thinking about it made me think about Mom's hands signing papers while she was sick. But Leah treated it like a light under a door, something she could see, something she wanted. By the time I was 15, Leah had a boyfriend, Jace. He was the kind of guy who leaned in too close, like your personal space was his to borrow. He smiled with his mouth, and nay, not his eyes. He wore expensive shoes that didn't match his job. I never knew what his job was. He always seemed to be between things, always talking about the next big opportunity like it was just around the corner. He would sit at our kitchen table, elbows spread, eating our food like he belonged there. He laughed too loudly at Dad's jokes. He called Maris ma'am with that fake respect people use when they want something, and he listened. He listened to how Dad talked about Leah, how proud he was, how grateful, how lucky. He listened to how Leah talked about me, how worried she was, how hard I'd been, how she didn't know what else to do. He listened to the word trustee when it came up once, casually, when Dad was sorting mail and muttered about paperwork. His eyes flicked to Leah. Just for a second, Leah's smile didn't change, but something in her posture did, like a cat noticing a bird. That night I wrote in my journal, until my hand cramped. I wrote, "It feels like they're building something around me, like walls." I didn't know then how right I was. The day everything snapped was an ordinary day right up until it wasn't. I came home from school with my backpack heavy on one shoulder, the strap digging into the same spot it always dug. The sky outside was grey, pregnant with rain. The air smelled like wet pavement and seaweed from the bay. As soon as I opened the front door, I felt it. That second quiet, the broken quiet. The house was too still. The TV wasn't on. The kitchen clock sounded loud. Tick, 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 like it was counting down to something. My sneakers squeaked on the mat. Dad was standing in the living room, not sitting, not slumped, standing. His shoulders were squared like he was bracing for impact, and his hands were shaking, not violently, just enough to notice, enough to tell me something inside him was boiling under a lid. Leah was behind him, half hidden in the hallway light. Her hair was perfect. Her face was arranged into concern. Her eyes were wet. Maris hovered by the doorway to the kitchen, arms wrapped around herself like she was cold. She stared at the floor. Of course she did. Dad didn't say hello. He didn't ask about school. He didn't even let me drop my backpack. He held up something in his fist, a little stack of bills. Then he held up a small plastic bottle. My stomach dropped so fast I felt it in my knees. "What is this?" he asked, voice low, controlled in the way that meant it was about to break. The word came out and died. My tongue felt thick. Leah took a step forward, slow, like she was approaching an animal that might bolt. "Nora," she said softly, "just tell him." "Tell him what?" Dad's eyes were locked on mine. They looked older than usual, tired, betrayed, like the story in his head had already finished and I was only just arriving at the last page. "You think I'm stupid?" he said, and the tightness in his jaw jumped. "You think I wouldn't notice money missing? I didn't." My throat constricted. The room tilted. I could feel my pulse in my fingertips. "I didn't take anything." Leah made a sound, not a sob, something smaller, a little breathy tremble that made her look fragile. Dad's gaze flicked to her for a fraction of a second. Protective. Then back to me, accusing. "This was, in your room," he said. He lifted the bottle higher. The label was turned away from me, but the shape was familiar enough to make my skin crawl. "And this." He shook the bills like they were proof of my decay. My mouth went dry. My stomach rolled. Bile rose in my throat, sharp and bitter. "My room?" I whispered. I haven't... Dad, I haven't..." He stepped closer. The air between us tightened. He said my name like it was a warning. "Nora!" I looked past him, past his shoulder, and met Leah's eyes. For a heartbeat, her mask slipped. Not much, just a flicker, a spark of satisfaction, tucked behind the tears. And then it was gone. She swallowed, pressed a hand to her chest. "I didn't want to do this," she murmured, voice trembling. I tried to handle it. I tried to talk to her. I turned to Maris, desperate. "Maris, please." Maris didn't look up. Silence. It filled my ears like water. Dad's hand shook harder now. His voice cracked just slightly, like the grief underneath had found a seam. "Tell me the truth," he said, "right now." "I am," I insisted, and my voice came out high, thin. "I'm telling you, I don't know where that came from." Dad stared at me, breathing heavy through his nose. He lifted his chin like he was steadying himself for the blow he thought was coming. Then he said it, the sentence that turned my blood to ice. "Tell me where you hid the rest." My father's question doesn't land like a sentence. It lands like a weight. "Tell me where you hid the rest." Rest, as if the lie has already multiplied, as if the proof in his hands is only a sample, and the real rot is tucked away somewhere inside my walls, inside my mattress, inside me. I taste metal. My tongue presses against my teeth, like it's trying to keep my words from falling out wrong. "Dad," I say, and my voice cracks on the second letter. "There is no rest. I didn't do any of this." Leah makes a soft noise behind him, half sob, half sigh, the kind that sounds like heartbreak, if you don't know what heartbreak looks like when it's rehearsed. "She's scared," Leah whispers. "She's been scared for months." My head snaps toward her. My throat tightens so hard it hurts. "Scared of what?" Leah's eyes flick away, just for a second, to Maris, like she's checking her audience. Then she turns back to Dad with that careful tremble in her mouth. "The people she's been talking to," Leah says. "I didn't want to tell you, Dad. I swear. I thought I could handle it. I thought I could get her to stop. Handle it. Get her to stop." Each phrase is a nail. "Stop what?" I hear myself ask. But it's thin, pathetic, because the room has already accepted the answer without me. Dad's nostrils flare. He steps toward the coffee table and drops the cash on it like it's dirty. Then he reaches into his pocket and pulls out something black and small and unfamiliar. A phone, not mine. It looks cheap, plastic, the kind you buy when you don't want your name attached. My stomach drops again, lower this time, like it's trying to escape through my feet. "I found this in your closet," Dad says. "In my..." I choke. No, you didn't." Leah's eyebrows pinch together. Concern, pain, perfect. "It was tucked behind her shoes," Leah adds quickly, like she's helping, like she's clarifying for the jury. "I didn't go digging. I was just putting laundry away and it fell out." Laundry. The word makes my scalp prickle. Leah does laundry like a ritual. She touches everyone's clothes. She knows where everything belongs. She knows exactly where to hide something so it looks like it belongs there. Dad's thumb swipes the screen. It lights up. He sets it in my palm without warning, hard enough that it smacks my skin. It's warm from his hand. Wrong, like a piece of someone else's body. "Read it," he says. My fingers shake so badly the screen blurs. I blink hard, once, twice. There's a thread printed out too, pages stapled neat, like a school handout, like evidence in a folder, names at the top that mean nothing to me, messages that look staged, too clean, too dramatic, too perfectly ugly. Need more? One line says. Got cash? Another says. My heart kicks against my ribs, frantic. This is not my language. These are not my words. I didn't write this, I whisper. But the whisper doesn't matter. Whispers don't stand a chance against stapled paper. Dad's eyes are wild now, glassy with something like grief and fury and relief all tangled together. Relief that the world has an explanation. Relief that the problem is me, because problems can be thrown out. Problems can be locked away. Problems can be punished until they stop being problems. And Leah stands there feeding him the script he wants. She started acting different, Leah says, voice shaking like she hates that she knows. She'd disappear in her room. She'd snap at me. She kept her phone face down. I didn't want to believe it either, Dad, but you know she's been struggling since Mum. Don't you dare. The words slam through my mind, hot and violent. Don't you dare use Mum like this. I open my mouth and my breath comes out in a sound that isn't a word, a broken little gasp. Dad, I try again. Louder, please. Look at me, please. He looks at me. And there's the verdict. Not a question. Not confusion, not even disappointment. Certainty. It hits me so hard my knees go loose. Maris is in the kitchen doorway like a ghost, her hands twist together at her waist. Her eyes are fixed on the floor tiles. She's not even trying to look brave. She's trying not to exist. Maris, I say, desperation scraping my throat raw. You know me. You live with me. You know I don't. Her lips part, close, part again. Nothing comes out. The silence is loud. It's a door closing too, just quieter. Dad's hand shoots out and grabs my upper arm. His fingers clamp down too tight. I suck in air and it stabs my lungs. I'm not doing this, he says, voice shaking now. Not under my roof. Not in this family. Family, I almost laugh. It's bitter and sharp inside my chest. What are you doing? I plead, but the words tangle because my brain is sprinting and my mouth is stuck in mud. Dad, I'm not. He drags me toward the front door. My feet stumble. My backpack strap slides down my shoulder. The world goes sideways for a second, the hallway stretching, the carpet pattern crawling. Leah follows like she's afraid of losing the show. Her face is folded into concern. Her hands hover like she might reach for me, like she might save me. But she doesn't. She never does. Dad yanks the door open. Wind slams into us like a slap. Rain is already coming down hard, needles and sheets cold and mean. The porch light flickers once as if it can't decide if it wants to witness this. He shoves my backpack into my chest, not gently, not as a gift, like he's throwing away the last piece of me he has to touch. The strap bites my shoulder. Get out, he says. My mouth opens. I can't speak. The rain steals my breath. It hits my face and my eyes and my lips, and it tastes like dirt and metal and the ocean. Dad, I manage, and it's a rasp. Please. His jaw clenches. The muscle jumps. Don't come back until you're ready to tell the truth, he snaps, voice splitting against the thunder. Then he shoves me over the threshold. The door slams. The deadbolt clicks. That sound, clean, final, becomes a new ending to my childhood. For a second, I just stand there. My body doesn't move. It's like my brain is waiting for a rewind, waiting for a correction, waiting for someone to open the door and say, we got it wrong. No one does. My hands fly to my pockets out of pure animal habit. Empty, empty, empty. No phone, no coat. I look down at my shoes, canvas sneakers, already soaking through, darkening, the cold creeping in like ink. The streetlight across the road buzzes and flickers like it's tired too. The wind shoves rain sideways so hard it stings my cheeks. I step off the porch because standing there feels like begging, and I can't stand the shape my body makes when it begs. The night is loud with water. Cars hiss past on the main road, tyres slicing puddles, headlights smear into bright streaks through the rain. I start walking. I don't even choose a direction at first. My feet just go. Autopilot, away from the house, away from the door, away from the click. Every breath feels too loud in my ears. Inhale, cold. Exhale, steam that vanishes. My hair clings to my face. Water runs down my back and pulls at my waistband. I hug my backpack to my chest like it can keep me upright. Grandma! That's the thought that threads through the chaos. Grandma will believe me. My grandmother, my mum's mother, was the only adult who ever looked at me like I wasn't a liability. She had hands that smelled like flour and soap. She had a laugh that made you feel forgiven. She lived in a small yellow house with white shutters and a porch swing. I picture it so hard my eyes burn. I walk faster. My shoes squelch. My socks turn into cold sponges. The wind pushes at my shoulders like it wants me on the ground. I keep going anyway. Streetlights, dark stretches, more streetlights. My fingers go numb first, then my toes. My jaw starts to tremble without permission. My mind keeps trying to replay the living room, Dad's shaking hands, the stapled pages, Leah's soft voice. The way Maris couldn't meet my eyes. I swallow hard, but it doesn't push the lump down. The town feels different at night. Smaller, meaner, like it's holding its breath. I reach the block where Grandma's house should be, and my heart lifts in spite of everything, stupid and hopeful. And then it's not there. The yellow house is gone, not physically gone. There's a house, but it's grey now, renovated, different porch, different mailbox. The porch swing is gone. The curtains are different. There's a new car in the driveway. My stomach drops so abruptly I gag. No, 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 no. I stumble to the curb and stare like staring will change it back. Then I remember a conversation I half listened to months ago, Dad complaining about her moving closer to her sister, Leah rolling her eyes, Grandma selling the place. I didn't store it because I didn't want to believe it mattered. It matters now. The rain runs down my face and mixes with something warmer. I can't tell if I'm crying or if my eyes are just reacting to the cold. My body shakes, not dainty shivers, full body tremors. I look around like there's a hidden door somewhere, like I've missed a street, like if I walk one more block, the yellow house will appear, waiting. But the neighbourhood is silent. Dark windows, the smell of wet asphalt, the ocean breath in the air. I turn, stumbling, and spot an awning over a closed little corner store, a metal shutter, a small strip of dry concrete beneath it. I go there because it's the only thing that looks like shelter. I sit down hard back against the cold wall. My jeans stick to my legs. My head drips onto my collarbone. My hand shakes so badly I can't unzip my backpack. The wind blows rain in anyway, misting my face. Dampening my sleeves, I tuck my arms around my knees and curl inward like I can make myself smaller than the weather. My teeth chatter, my jaw aches, my shoulders cramp from hunching. I close my eyes for 1 second just to rest them, and fear slices through me so sharp my eyes snap open again. If I fall asleep, I might not wake up. The thought isn't dramatic, it's not poetic, it's a plain, cold fact that settles in my belly. My breath comes out in short bursts. Panic wants to climb my throat, wants to make noise, wants to scream at the sky, but no one will come. Nobody comes for girls sitting under awnings in storms, then headlights slow, not the hiss of a car passing, a deliberate slowing, tyres crunching through shallow water. I lift my head. Rain blurs everything into halos. A car pulls over near the curb. Hazard lights blink, amber, steady, almost soothing. A door opens. A woman steps out, hunched against the rain. Moving fast, she's in scrubs under a jacket, hair pulled back, face set in that tired, alert expression people wear when they've seen too much and still choose to help anyway. She jogs toward me, holding something above her head, her purse maybe. She stops under the awning and her eyes lock on my face. "You okay?" she asks. Voice firm, no nonsense, like she already knows the answer but needs me to speak it. My throat spasms. I can't get the words out. My lips feel stiff. Her gaze flicks to my backpack, to the school logo stitched on it, to the edge of my student ID peeking out of the front pocket. "You're a kid," she says, and it's not a question. Something in her expression shifts. Anger, protective instinct, memory. "I'm Cora," she adds quickly, like giving her name is a way to make me trust the next thing. "I'm a nurse. Where are your parents?" The word parents makes bile rise again. I swallow hard and it burns. My voice finally comes, raw and tiny. "I can't go back." Cora's eyes sharpen. She crouches in front of me, close enough that I can smell hand sanitizer and rain. "Did they throw you out?" she asks quietly. My throat tightens so hard I can't breathe for a second. I nod. Cora's jaw clenches. "Okay," she says decisive. "Okay, you're coming with me." I shake my head automatically, fear flooding. I don't." "You can," she cuts in, and her voice leaves no room for argument. She stands, shrugs off her jacket and drapes it around my shoulders. It's warm from her body. It smells like fabric softener and hospital air. The warmth makes my skin sting like waking up from numbness. I gasp. "Easy," she says, hands hovering, not grabbing. Slow breath, in, out. I try. The air is still cold, but her jacket blocks the wind. My shaking doesn't stop, but it changes. Less violent, more survivable. Cora guides me to the car. The seat is cold at first, then the heater kicks on and warm air washes over my hands. I hold them up to the vent like they're not mine. My fingers ache as feeling returns, sharp and stabbing. Cora drives with both hands tight on the wheel. The wipers squeak, squeak, squeak like they're counting. "Name?" she asks. "Nora," I whisper. "How old?" 15. "Yeah." She exhales through her nose, angry. 15, she repeats like she's tasting the injustice. The hospital is bright. Too bright. The smell hits me. Antiseptic, rubber gloves, stale coffee. They wrap a warm blanket around my shoulders. Someone takes my temperature. Someone asks questions. Their voices blur, but one voice cuts through, low, professional, steady. A social worker. Her badge glints under the fluorescent lights. She sits across from me like she's done this 100 times and still cares. "Why were you outside in this weather?" she asks. My lips tremble. I look down at my hands, at the blanket, at the water dripping from my hair onto the tile. I got kicked out, I say, and the words scrape my throat open. "By who?" "My dad." "Why?" My stomach twists. The lie rises like a wave. "I didn't do anything," I whisper. "He thinks I stole. He thinks—" The social worker's pen pauses. "He thinks," she repeats, and there's a small space in her voice, like she's leaving room for truth. Cora stands behind me, arms folded, face hard. She doesn't touch me, but her presence feels like a wall at my back. The social worker's eyes stay on mine. "Does your father know you're here?" I nod barely. "Who called him?" "I don't know." My voice shakes. "I didn't have my phone." She writes something down. Her jaw tightens in a way that tells me this isn't normal, that what happened matters. Time becomes a strange thing in hospitals. Minutes stretch, hours fold, and then footsteps in the hallway, familiar ones, heavy. My stomach drops before I even see him. Dad walks into the room like he owns it, like the world is still arranged around his certainty. His face is pale under the fluorescent lights. His eyes flick from me to the social worker to Cora. Behind him, Leah glides in. Her hair is perfect. Her cheeks are pink, like she's been crying. She looks like concern in human form. I hate her so much it makes my hands go cold again. The social worker stands. Her voice is polite but firm. She asks questions. Dad doesn't answer cleanly. Why was your daughter outside without a coat, without a phone? Why did she not have a safe place to go? Why were the police notified? Dad's mouth opens and closes. His eyes dart. His certainty cracks around the edges. And Leah moves toward me like she's coming to comfort. She sits on the edge of the chair beside my bed, close enough that her perfume reaches me, sweet, powdery, familiar. She takes my hand. Her fingers are warm. Her grip is gentle, sisterly. My skin crawls. She leans in like she's going to whisper something loving. Her lips brush my ear. Her voice is soft as a prayer, sharp as a blade. Say you made it up, Leah breathes, squeezing my hand just a little too hard, or I'll make sure you lose everything. Leah's whisper slides under my skin and lodges there. Say you made it up. Her fingers are still wrapped around mine, warm and gentle on the outside, a clamp underneath. I can feel the pulse in my wrist thudding against her grip like my body is trying to warn me. I don't look at her. If I look at her, I might explode. I stare at the hospital blanket instead, thin, scratchy, covered in tiny blue squares. My eyes lock onto one square like it's the only stable thing in the universe. My mouth opens. Nothing comes out. Leah's thumb strokes the back of my hand like she's soothing me, like she's the good sister, like she's saving me from myself. Her nails press just a little. My stomach flips. Heat rushes up my throat. I swallow hard and it feels like swallowing a stone. The social worker is still talking to Dad. Words drift over me. Minor, safety, supervision, weather, protocol. Dad's voice is stiff, defensive, a rehearsed kind of anger. She's acting out, he says. We've tried everything. I told her she couldn't come home until she told the truth. That's called tough love. Tough love. I taste the phrase like bile. He says it like he's proud, like he's noble, like he's a man doing the hard thing nobody else has the courage to do. I can't breathe right for a second. My ribs feel too tight. The air catches halfway in. Cora's behind me, silent, but I feel her presence like a steady hand on my spine, not touching, just there. The social worker's pen scratches again. Leah finally releases my hand and pats my knuckles, delicate, a performance bow. When she stands, her eyes meet mine for the first time since her whisper. She smiles with her mouth. Her eyes stay sharp. I understand then. She's not scared of the social worker. She's only scared of me speaking, because speaking is the one thing she can't fully control. A nurse comes in, more questions, my name, my birthday, any allergies, the normal, boring stuff that makes the whole nightmare feel even worse because it's happening in a place where people are supposed to be safe. The social worker talks about temporary placement. Temporary. The word makes my stomach drop again. It sounds like floating, like having no floor. I don't hear all of it, not clearly, but I catch enough. Cora offers. Her voice is calm, firm. She can stay with me, she says. Emergency placement. I have the space. Dad's head snaps toward her. His eyes narrow like he wants to be offended, but he's cornered by the fluorescent lights and the paperwork and the fact that people are watching. Leah's expression crumples into concern again. This is so sudden, she whispers, hand to her chest. I want to laugh. I want to scream. I want to throw something. Instead, I sit there with my hands clenched under the blanket until my nails leave crescents in my palms because my body has learned something my mind is still catching up to. Noise gets you punished. Quiet keeps you alive. That night, I leave the hospital with Cora. Not with my father, not with my sister, not with Maris. The air outside is cold and damp, but it feels different than the storm. The rain has slowed to a soft drizzle, like the sky ran out of energy. Cora's car smells like peppermint and clean laundry. The heater hums. Warm air spills over my face and my skin tingles as if it's waking up. Cora drives with her jaw set. The streetlights smear across the windshield. "You don't have to tell me everything right now," she says, eyes on the road. "But you do have to promise me one thing." I swallow. My throat hurts like I've been swallowing knives all night. "What?" "If you're scared," she says, "you say it out loud. You don't carry it alone. Not in my house." My chest tightens. Something sharp pricks behind my eyes. I nod once, fast, because if I try to speak, I'll fall apart. Cora's apartment is small but warm. 2 bedrooms, a couch with a knitted throw, a kitchen that smells faintly of garlic and soap. There's a bowl by the door with a set of keys and a little bottle of hand sanitizer. The normalcy makes me dizzy. Cora hands me a towel. "Shower if you want. There are clean clothes in the second drawer. They might be a little big." I take the towel like it's fragile. When the bathroom door closes, I press my forehead to the cool wood and shake. Not elegant shaking, not cinematic, just my body dumping everything it's been holding. In the shower, the hot water hits my skin and it stings like punishment. I stand there anyway, letting it run over my hair, over my shoulders, over the bruised feeling in my arm where Dad grabbed me. When I step out, steam fills the small room. My fingers look wrinkled and pale. I stare at them like they belong to someone else. I sleep that night in a bed that isn't mine. The sheets smell like detergent and sunshine. The pillow is too soft. I lie awake anyway, staring into the dark, listening for the click of a deadbolt that never comes. Every time I start to drift, Leah's whisper jerks me back awake. "Say you made it up, or I'll make sure you lose everything." The next day, my phone is replaced by a cheap, temporary one, Cora, found in a drawer and turned on for me. I stare at it like it's a foreign object. I keep expecting it to buzz with Dad's name, with Leah's name, with demands. It doesn't. What comes instead is silence. And the silence is its own kind of punishment. When I return to school, it feels like walking into a room where everyone already heard the story, just not from me. I can feel eyes on my back like pins. Whispers slip through the air when I pass, not loud enough to catch cleanly, but I can feel them in the way people stop talking and then start again. Teachers smile too brightly. They speak to me gently, like I might shatter, or worse, like I might be contagious. In the hallway, I hear my name paired with words that make my stomach clench. Trouble, sad, messed up, that girl. My locker door feels colder than usual against my palm. At lunch, Tessa sits at the far end of the table. She looks up when I approach, then looks away too fast. Her shoulders hunch, like she's bracing for impact. I sit anyway. The bench is cold through my jeans. The cafeteria smells like fries and bleach. "You okay?" I ask her, and my voice sounds strange to me, too careful, like it's walking on ice. Tessa bites her lip. Her eyes flick around, checking who's listening. She leans in a little. "Your sister told my mum you've been hanging with bad people," she whispers. She said you might ask for money." My face goes hot. The shame hits so fast it makes my skin sting. I would never," I say. But my voice is quiet, and I hate that it's quiet, because quiet sounds like guilt when people are looking for it. Tessa's eyes fill with something like apology. "I know," she says. My mum said," I nod like it's fine, like it doesn't matter. But it matters. It matters so much my stomach aches. When I get home to Cora's that afternoon, I drop my backpack on the floor and just stand there. My body is heavy. My brain feels foggy, like I'm underwater and everyone else is breathing air. Cora comes out of the kitchen and takes one look at my face. They're talking, she says. It isn't a question. I swallow, my throat tight. Yeah. Cora's eyes soften. Come here, she says, and for a second I want to refuse because comfort feels dangerous. Comfort feels like the kind of thing that gets taken away. But I step forward anyway. She doesn't hug me like a parent does. She doesn't squeeze the air out of me. She just puts a hand on my shoulder, solid, warm, present. You're going to feel like you need to prove you're good enough, she says quietly. Don't. You need to prove what's true. The words hit me in a place I didn't know I had. That night I open my journal. The cover is worn, the pages are dog-eared. It smells like paper and pencil shavings. I flip to the section where I wrote about Leah, about the missing forms, the little humiliations, the way she smiles when I'm cornered. And my breath catches. Pages are gone, not ripped messily, not torn with anger, cleanly removed, a neat absence. My fingers tremble as I trace the jagged edge near the spine. It's like touching a wound. My stomach rolls. I run to my backpack and dump it on the bed. Books thud, pens scatter. I flip through everything, frantic, searching for those pages like they might have fallen out. Nothing, they're not lost. They've been taken. My skin goes cold. My heart pounds so hard it makes my ears ring. How did she? And then the truth slides into place, slow and sickening. She still has access, not to my body, to my story. She's stealing my words so she can control the narrative, so she can stay ahead of me. I sit on the edge of the bed and press my fists against my eyes until I see stars. I don't cry, not because I'm strong, because I'm empty. The next day, I go to the school office. My feet feel heavy, like they're walking through mud. The air in the hallway is warm and stale. The bell rings, shrill, and it makes me flinch. Miss Alden looks up as I step inside, her eyes sharpen immediately. "Hi, Nora," she says, voice steady. "You all right?" My throat tightens. I nod once. Too fast. She watches me for a second, then gestures to the chair in front of her desk. "Sit." I sit. My hands are in my lap, clenched so tight my knuckles ache. Miss Alden reaches into a file drawer and pulls out a form. Just one piece of paper. Ordinary, boring. The kind of thing adults shuffle around all day without thinking. She slides it toward me. "This came through last week," she says. "A request for records." My eyes drop to the page. The handwriting at the bottom where the signature is makes my stomach lurch. It's my name, in my style, the slant, the loop of the N, the little tail on the A, except it's not mine. It's too careful. Like someone practiced it. My breath catches. My fingers hover over the ink like it might burn. Miss Alden's voice is quiet. "I've seen your handwriting since 6th grade, she says. "I know when something doesn't match." My skin prickles from scalp to arms. My voice breaks. I swallow and try again. "She forged it." Miss Alden doesn't look surprised. She looks grim, like she's been waiting for me to catch up. "I'm not allowed to accuse anyone without proof," she says, tapping the paper gently, "but I'm allowed to notice patterns." Patterns, the word lands like a key turning in a lock. Suddenly every little thing makes sense. The missing slips, the rumours, the way Leah always seemed to know what people were saying about me before I did. The way she always had the perfect concern at the perfect time. She didn't just frame me, she studied me. She studied my habits, my handwriting, my weak spots. She studied the shape of my life, like it was a test she planned to ace. A cold, steady anger spreads through my chest. Not hot, wild rage, something sharper, something clean. I walk out of the office with that form folded in my pocket, and the hallway looks different, not safer, clearer. I kept thinking if I was perfect enough, I'd be safe. But perfection is just another cage, because Leah didn't need me to be messy to destroy me. She just needed me to be predictable. That night, I sit at Cora's kitchen table with a notebook that isn't my journal. A plain one, no feelings inside it, no secrets, just lines. Cora sets a cup of tea in front of me. It smells like chamomile. My hands wrap around it for warmth. I need to prove it, I say, voice low. Cora nods once. Then we document. Document, the word feels solid. She slides a pen towards me. Dates, she says. Times. Names. Who said what? Where you were. What you saw. What you have. I stare at the blank page. My stomach twists. What if nobody believes me, I whisper. Cora's eyes hold mine. Then we make it impossible not to. So I start. I write the night in the storm, the hospital, Leah's whisper, the missing journal pages, the forged form. I write like I'm building a spine, and for the first time since the deadbolt clicked, I feel something like control, not over them, over me. A week later, a letter arrives. It's in an official envelope, thick paper, crisp edges, the kind of envelope that never brings good news. Cora hands it to me without opening it. Her face is tight. My fingers tremble as I tear the flap. The paper inside is stiff and formal. I read the first line and my stomach drops out. A notice. My scholarship inheritance account is being reviewed due to concerning reports regarding my well-being and judgment. The words blur. My throat closes. I look up at Cora and I can't breathe because Leah didn't just throw me out into the storm. She's reaching for my future. The letter sits in my hands like it's alive, thick paper, clean edges, polite font, the kind that pretends it isn't a knife until you read the last line and realise it's already under your ribs. Review. Concerning reports. My mouth goes dry. My tongue sticks to my teeth when I swallow. I can feel my heartbeat in my fingertips, thump, thump, like it's trying to punch its way out. Cora stands behind me, close enough that I can feel her warmth, but she doesn't hover. She lets me have the moment. She lets me feel the full weight of it without taking it away. I stare at the letter again, and something inside me shifts. Not sadness, not fear, a hard, cold click, like a lock catching, because I finally understand what Leah is doing. She isn't just trying to make me look bad. She's trying to make me look unfit, unstable, unreliable, someone who can be managed, spoken for, handled, someone whose money can be redirected without anyone feeling guilty about it. My jaw clenches so tight it aches. My nails dig into my palms. I look up at Cora and my voice comes out low, steady in a way I don't recognise. I'm not begging anymore. Cora's eyes hold mine. Good. I inhale through my nose. The air tastes like chamomile and clean kitchen and the faint citrus scent of dish soap. Normal. Safe. It makes the rage in my chest feel even sharper by contrast. I need rules, I say. My throat burns, but I keep going. If I lose control, she wins. If I scream, I'm exactly what she said I am. Cora nods slowly, like she's been waiting for me to say it out loud. My hands shake as I lay the letter on the table, flatten it with my palm, like I can pin it down. No screaming matches, I whispered to myself, like a vow. No public meltdowns, no threats. I exhale. My shoulders drop a fraction. Only receipts. The next days turn into a different kind of survival. Not the kind where you walk through rain, praying your fingers don't freeze. The kind where you wake up every morning and choose patience like it's a weapon. Where you swallow your pride and ask questions you shouldn't have to ask, where you write everything down because your memory is not admissible in a town that loves Leah. Cora helps me make a folder, a real folder, tabs, labels, dates. It feels almost ridiculous, like homework, like I'm preparing for a debate meet. But the first time I slide a document into a plastic sleeve, something in my chest loosens. Proof doesn't care if I cry. Proof doesn't get tired. Proof doesn't get drowned out by Leah's sweet voice. Proof just sits there waiting. The burner phone is the first thread I pull because the phone in Dad's hand was real. I saw it. I felt it. So it has a history, a purchase, a place, a cashier, a camera maybe. I walk into the little convenience store on the edge of town where everyone buys gas and gum and lottery tickets. The bell above the door jingles, sharp and bright. The air smells like coffee that's been burned on purpose, and the sweet, stale scent of candy. My stomach flips. I can feel sweat gather at the base of my spine under my shirt. I'm 15. I'm still the girl who got kicked out. I can feel that label on me when the clerk looks up. The clerk is a middle-aged guy with tired eyes and a moustache that looks like it's been there longer than his patience. He glances at me, then back to his register. I grip the edge of the counter. My fingers go numb. "Hi," I say, and my voice tries to tremble, but I keep it steady. "I'm looking for a phone purchase, a cheap one, a while back." His eyes narrow. Suspicion. "I can't just," he starts. "I know," I cut in. Too fast, then slow myself down. Breathe. "I'm not asking you to break rules. I need to know if you remember who bought it." He snorts like that's funny. "People buy those all the time." My heart sinks. For 1 second, the old hopelessness tries to climb back into my throat. Then the door jingles behind me and a gust of damp air sweeps in. The clerk's gaze flicks past my shoulder, then back to me, and something shifts. Recognition. "Wait," he says slowly. My pulse spikes. He leans forward a little, squinting at my face as if he's matching it to a memory. "You're Ronan's kid," he says. My stomach turns. I hate being connected to him like that. Hate it. But I nod. His mouth twists. Uncomfortable. "Yeah, I remember something. Not you, your sister." My skin prickles, ice hot. "She came in," he continues, scratching his moustache. "Not long before that storm night, I think. Bought one of those prepaid phones, had a guy with her, tall, jittery, kept looking around like he was worried someone would see him." "Jace." My throat tightens. The clerk's eyes stay on mine. "She was acting weirdly cheerful," he adds, like the detail bothers him now. Like she'd just won something. My hands grip the counter so hard my nails hurt. The plastic edge bites my skin. "Do you remember the date?" I ask, and my voice comes out too sharp. I swallow, soften. "Even roughly," he shrugs. "I could check old receipts, but that's a lot. If you had something official..." I nod, forcing my breath to steady. "Okay, thank you." When I step outside, the air hits my face and I realise I've been holding my breath. I suck in a deep lungful and it shakes on the way out. One thread, real, warm, connected to a witness. Back at school, I go to Miss Alden. I don't cry in her office. I don't beg. I just lay the forged form on her desk and the letter about the review and my own notes with dates. Miss Alden reads everything in silence, her lips pressed together. Her pen taps once, twice, like she's counting. "I can't testify to what happens in your home," she says finally, "but I can testify to what happens in this building." My throat tightens. Relief stings behind my eyes. She turns her monitor slightly toward me and scrolls. Attendance logs, office notes, a digital trail of small, concerned visits and helpful reports. Leah had been coming in, not often enough to look suspicious to someone who isn't looking, but Miss Alden was looking. The notes show patterns. Leah reporting something worrying about me right before key dates, field trips, scholarship deadlines, counsellor meetings, always right before a moment where my life would move forward. Leah wasn't reacting to me, she was steering me. I stare at the screen and feel my stomach hollow out. She's planned this, I whisper. Miss Alden's eyes are hard. She's managed it, she corrects. Managed, like a project, like a budget, like a life that belongs to her. Jace is harder. Jace is a shadow, a smile that disappears when you try to look directly at it. But shadows leave footprints. In town, people talk, especially when you listen without letting them know you're listening. At the diner, I sit in a corner booth with a mug of cocoa I can't taste. The vinyl seat squeaks when I shift. The place smells like fryer oil and coffee and syrup. A couple at the counter laughs about Jace's new big thing like it's a running joke. Always got a plan, one of them says, shaking his head. Always got a reason he needs a little help, a little cash, a little investment. Another voice snorts. Yeah, and he always dates girls with something to lose. My stomach tightens like a fist. I write it down when I get home. Not the gossip, the pattern, because patterns are the only thing Leah can't argue with. Weeks pass, months, the investigation crawls, slow, bureaucratic, exhausting. Dad doubles down publicly. He tells people I'm going through a phase, that he's doing the hard thing, that I needs help. Leah performs concern like it's her job. She shows up at school with a soft face and a trembling voice and the right kind of sadness. She tells teachers she just wants her little sister safe. People nod, people sigh. People love a story where the pretty, responsible daughter is the hero. I keep my head down. I keep my voice even. I keep collecting. And then life happens anyway. I graduate. The day I walk across the stage, the auditorium lights glare into my eyes. My palms are sweaty inside the borrowed gown. My name is called, and for a second, the sound of it, my name, spoken cleanly, makes my chest crack open. Nora, not problem, not trouble, just Nora. I take the diploma and grip it so tightly the paper bends. I don't care. Outside, rain threatens the edges of the sky, and I flinch automatically. Then I force myself to breathe through it. I leave town. I pack my life into boxes and drive until the ocean smell fades and the air changes and no one knows my sister's name. I rebuild, not in one dramatic moment, not with a triumphant speech. I rebuild in therapy sessions where my throat tightens and my hands shake, and I learn that my body is allowed to take up space. I rebuild with boundaries that feel like guilt at first, then feel like air. I rebuild by choosing friends who don't look at me like a rumour. Years pass, I become a woman with a calm apartment and a steady job and groceries in the fridge and a spare key that belongs to someone I trust. Sometimes I hear rain and my stomach still drops, but I don't end up on the ground anymore. Then, 13 years later, my phone buzzes with a number I haven't saved, but my bones recognise anyway. Leah. My thumb hovers over the screen. My heart thuds once, hard, like it's warning me. I answer. Her voice hits my ear and I almost don't recognise it. It's thinner, frayed, like a thread pulled too tight. Nora, she breathes, and there's panic in it. Real panic, not staged, not polished. My stomach flips. What do you want, I ask, and my voice is calm enough to surprise me. There's a sound on the other end, something between a sob and a laugh. I can't hold it together anymore. I close my eyes. I picture her face, the perfect mask, the bright eyes. You're fine, I say flatly. No, she whispers. No, I'm not. Dad's sick. It's bad. There's a meeting, a lawyer, the estate, the will, everything. My skin prickles. And? I say. Leo inhales sharply. You need to come. I almost laugh. The sound rises bitter and I swallow it down. Why? My voice is colder now. So you can squeeze my hand again and whisper threats in my ear? She goes silent, then quieter, because there's something you don't know. The words make my stomach twist. What? I demand. Her voice drops to a trembling whisper. Mum left a letter, a sealed one. The lawyer kept it. It's supposed to be opened only if one daughter tried to control the other. My pulse spikes so hard my vision swims. A letter from Mum. My mouth goes dry. My throat tightens, like I'm trying not to cry and not to hope at the same time. Leah sounds like she's shaking. If you come to the reading tomorrow, you'll understand what I did. I stare at the wall of my apartment, at the framed photo I chose, at the life I built with my own hands. My fingers are numb around the phone. All those years, I imagined what Mum would say if she could see it. If she could see Leah's smile, Dad's certainty, my wet shoes, a sealed letter, like Mom reached across the grave and left a handprint on the future. Fine, I say, and my voice is barely a whisper. I'll come. The next day, the lawyer's office smells like carpet cleaner and coffee and money. The waiting room is too quiet. The chairs are too stiff. My hands sweat. I sit with my spine straight, knees together, jaw clenched. No meltdowns, only receipts. The door opens. I look up. Leah walks in. She takes one step into the room and freezes when she sees me. Her face drains so fast, it's like someone pulled a plug. Her lips part, her eyes widen. For one raw second, the mask is gone, and she whispers, barely audible, like the words are a mistake she can't take back. You weren't supposed to come. Leah's whisper hangs between us. You weren't supposed to come? The air in the lawyer's waiting room feels too dry, like it's been sucked clean of oxygen on purpose. My mouth goes cottony. My tongue sticks when I swallow. I keep my face still because I can feel the old reflex trying to climb up my throat. Panic, pleading, the urge to explain myself into being loved. Not today. I stand when the receptionist calls our names. My knees don't shake, or maybe they do, but I don't give them permission to show. Leah walks a step behind me like she's unsure of her own legs. Her perfume hits me, sweet and powdery, and my stomach tightens like it's bracing for a punch. It remembers too well. She keeps glancing at me, then away, like I'm a ghost that learned how to open doors. The lawyer's office is quiet, in the way expensive places are quiet. Thick carpet, soft lighting, a wall of framed degrees, a small lamp glowing like a polite fire. There's a rain-streaked window behind the desk, and the sound of water tapping glass is steady, patient, not violent, not punishing, just there. Dad is already inside. He looks smaller than my memory. Not physically, exactly, more like the edges of him have caved in. His shoulders slope forward. His skin is greyish under the warm light. His hands rest on the armrests like they're too heavy to lift. When his eyes meet mine, something flickers across his face. Surprise, a thin flash of guilt. Then a wall slides up. Habit. He opens his mouth, maybe to say my name, maybe to say sorry. But his throat works and nothing comes out. The lawyer clears his throat. A crisp, practice sound. Thank you all for coming, he says. All. Like we're a family, like we're a unit. I sit in the chair farthest from Leah, not dramatically, just deliberately. My hands rest on my knees, palms down, anchoring me. The lawyer shuffles papers. The sound of it, paper on paper, makes my pulse spike. It shouldn't, but it does, because paper has been used against me before. Paper has been made into a weapon. The lawyer speaks about assets, accounts, a trust arrangement. I hear the words, but they slide over me like rainwater. I'm watching Leah's hands. She keeps twisting her fingers together like she's trying to wring something invisible out of them. Her nails are perfect, pale polish, no chips. It's almost funny how she maintained perfection even while her world tilts. Then the lawyer pauses. He reaches into a file and pulls out an envelope. Not plain. Sealed with a strip of red wax, stamped with a simple imprint. A flower, maybe. Something my mother would have chosen because she loved small, beautiful things, even when life was ugly. My breath catches so hard it hurts. My chest tightens. My eyes sting instantly, like my body recognises her before my mind can. This, the lawyer says, holding it carefully, is a sealed letter left by Patricia. My mother's name spoken aloud makes my stomach lurch. Patricia? Mum! My hands curl into fists on my knees. My nails bite my skin. It includes instructions, he continues, to open it only under specific circumstances. He looks at Dad briefly, then at Leah, then at me, like he's measuring the temperature in the room. The instruction reads, he says, eyes dropping to the page, open if one daughter attempts to control the other through false allegations, coercion or manipulation in matters of money, guardianship, education or reputation. The air shifts. It's subtle, but I feel it like a change in pressure in my ears. My throat closes. I have to swallow twice. Leah makes a sound, tiny, involuntary, a breath that breaks. Dad's face goes slack, like someone turned off the part of him that holds up the lie. The lawyer continues, voice calm, almost gentle, and that calmness makes the words sharper. She outlines signs of manipulation, he reads, including isolating behaviour, forging signatures, creating concern reports to influence adults, and manufacturing evidence to provoke punishment. My skin prickles. A cold rush sweeps up my arms. My mind flashes. A permission slip missing. My name forged. A stapled message thread. Leah's soft concern voice. Mum saw it coming. The thought is so huge it almost knocks me backward in my chair. Mum knew the shape of the danger, and she wrote a map. The lawyer turns the page. She also names a neutral trustee, he continues, to oversee and protect Nora's funds and educational accounts if any dispute arises. Neutral. My chest loosens in a way that feels like something untying inside me. Not joy, not relief yet, just a door opening where there used to be a wall. Leah's face is white now. Her lips tremble. Dad's hands grip the chair arms, knuckles pale, like he's trying not to fall apart in public. The lawyer folds the letter carefully and sets it down like it's holy. For a beat, the only sound is rain tapping the window. Tap, tap, tap. My heart thuds in time with it. Then Leah speaks, not with her performance voice, her real voice. It's smaller, rawer, frayed like rope. I didn't mean for it to go that far, she whispers. My stomach flips, violent and hot. Dad jerks his head toward her. Leah! His voice is cracked, warning and pleading at once, but she keeps going, eyes locked on the table, not on any of us, like if she looks up, she'll shatter. Jay said, he said it was just a push, she says, and the words spill out in uneven bursts, just enough to make you... She gestures weakly toward Dad without looking at him. Watch her, control her, keep her from... She swallows hard. Keep her from taking what she didn't deserve. My nails dig deeper into my palm. Didn't deserve. I almost laugh. It comes up like acid. Leah's breath shakes. He said you loved me, she continues, voice breaking. That you'd believe me, that you always did, and you did. The room feels suddenly too small. My skin feels too tight. Dad makes a noise in his throat like he's choking. Leah's shoulders hunch as if she's being pressed down by the weight of what she's saying. I staged it, she admits. The word staged lands like a slap. The phone, the cash, the messages. I wanted her to look unstable. I wanted everyone to think... She squeezes her eyes shut. I wanted her money to stay... reachable. I feel my pulse in my ears, loud, furious. Dad's face turns toward me slowly, like he's afraid of what he'll see there. His lips move, no sound. I breathe in through my nose, slow. I taste carpet cleaner and coffee and old anger, only receipts. My bag is at my feet. I open it with steady hands. The zipper sounds too loud in the quiet. I pull out my folder, clear sleeves, tabs, labels, dates. The lawyer's eyebrows lift slightly. Leah's head snaps up, eyes wide. Dad's breath catches. I lay the first page on the desk, the copied form with my signature. My name in handwriting that is almost mine, but not quite. I slide it forward. Then the second, Miss Alden's office record notes, printed and dated, showing Leah's concern visits lined up with key deadlines. Then the third, a written statement from the store clerk. Date, time, description of Leah, buying a prepaid phone with Jace. Cheerful, tall, jittery guy. Then the fourth, my timeline, handwritten, neat, unemotional, just facts. I don't look at Leah when I do it. I don't need to, because I can feel her panic like heat off a stove. The lawyer's face tightens as he scans. He doesn't gasp. He doesn't perform shock. He just reads, processes, catalogues. He looks up at Dad, and suddenly Dad looks like a man being forced to read his own failure out loud. These are the same facts I tried to say when I was 15. Same truth, different room. Back then, Dad could slam a door. Here he can't. His mouth opens and closes once. His eyes shine, but the tears don't fall. They sit there, trapped, like him. Finally, his voice comes out, low, stripped. I made you a stranger, he says. Not to the lawyer, not to Leah, straight to me. His voice trembles. I made you a stranger to survive my own weakness. The words hit me in the centre of my chest. Not because they heal anything, because they're honest. Honesty doesn't erase the storm. It doesn't give me back the night I lost, but it does something else. It puts the blame where it belongs. Dad looks down, ashamed, and he whispers, I didn't want to see it. I nod once. My throat burns. Leah tries to speak again. Her old instincts twitch like a dying thing. She lifts her hands, palms out, like she's pleading for understanding. I was young, she says quickly. I was under pressure. You don't know what it was like. Dad was. He was gone. And Maris, she never. Her voice rises frantic. I held the family together. The words echo. And then, nothing. No one rushes to comfort her. No one says, you did your best. The room stays quiet, heavy with the truth and the rain and the paper trail. The lawyer clears his throat again. Voice professional, steady. Given this confession and supporting documentation, he says, the trustee arrangement will be enforced as specified in Patricia's letter. Accounts will be reassigned under neutral oversight. Any discretionary access previously granted will be revoked pending review. Leah's face crumples. Real tears start now, messy, unpretty. She wipes them, smearing her makeup. Jace, she whispers, and there's a strange, hollow laugh in it. Jace won't. She fumbles for her phone like it might save her. Like a man who taught her to gamble with my life will suddenly stand beside her when the chips are gone. She taps, calls. Her fingers shake. No answer. Of course there's no answer. Jace was never here for her. He was here for what she could reach, and now he can't reach it. A small, bitter satisfaction curls in my stomach. Not joy, not cruelty, just the clean recognition of cause and effect. Leah stares at her screen, blinking hard, as if blinking will change reality. Dad sits back, shoulders collapsing, like he's finally letting the weight fall on him. The lawyer speaks again about next steps, about paperwork, about formal processes. His voice becomes background noise. I'm watching rain slide down the window in slow lines. Each drop catches the light and then disappears, replaced by another. The rain isn't screaming anymore. It's just moving like time, like healing. I stand, everyone looks at me. Leah's eyes are swollen. Dad's face is carved with regret. My hands don't shake. Or if they do, it's small, private. I look at Leah, really look. She isn't the shining golden girl in the hallway light anymore. She's just a woman who made a choice and is now staring at the cost. I let the silence stretch one extra second, not for drama, because I need it, because the 15-year-old inside me deserves a pause before I speak. Then I say it quietly. You didn't ruin my life, I tell her. My voice is steady, almost gentle, and that gentleness is mine, not hers. You delayed it. Leah flinches like I struck her, but I didn't raise my hand. I don't need to. I turn to Dad. My throat tightens, but I keep my voice calm. I'm not here to take everything, I say. I'm here to take my name back. Dad's eyes close. His chin trembles once. He nods like he can't do anything else. I walk to the door. The carpet muffles my steps. At the threshold, I pause just long enough to listen. Rain taps the window behind me, soft, steady. For the first time in my life, it doesn't sound like punishment. It sounds like closure. I step outside and the air hits my face. Cool, damp, almost gentle. Light rain, not the kind that screams, just a soft, steady fall that darkens the sidewalk and makes everything smell clean for a second. My shoulders don't jump. My stomach doesn't drop. I just breathe in, out. And it feels strange realising my body can finally exist in rain without bracing for exile. Like I've been holding my breath for 13 years and nobody told me I was allowed to stop. Some families don't break with a shout. They break with a story told about you while you're still in the room, a story that turns your face into a warning label, a story that makes people look at you like you're a problem to manage instead of a person to love. And scapegoating, it grows best where silence gets rewarded, where the easy child stays quiet, where the loudest voice wins by default, where the truth is treated like inconvenience. I used to think if I could just explain better, be calmer, be sweeter, be perfect, I could earn my way back into that house. But perfection is a cage with velvet bars. Truth needs something else. Truth needs distance. It needs time. It needs receipts. It needs you far enough away to see the whole pattern and steady enough to hold it up without shaking. I was 15 when a door shut. I was grown when I stopped trying to reopen it. Behind me, through the glass, I can still picture them, their faces, their silence, their regret. But I don't turn back. I don't need to watch them crumble to feel the whole. I don't need to take everything. I took the one thing they kept trying to steal, my name. I walked to my car, rain tapping my hair, my cheeks, my hands. It feels like a reset, like the sky is rinsing off a story that was never mine. Before you go, tell me in the comments, have you ever been blamed for something you didn't do, and how did you clear your name? And if you're still here with me, if you felt even a piece of what I felt, like subscribe and stay close, because next time it's about the aunt who stole my wedding money and begged me to hide it.